So student, last time we have seen about this perfectly black body. What is perfectly black body? For perfectly black body, coefficient of absorption A is equal to 1, while coefficient of reflection and coefficient of transmission are 0. What is the meaning of this sentence? Coefficient of absorption is 1 means whatever amount of heat energy is radiated, all amount of incident heat radiated will be absorbed. No amount of energy is reflected, no amount of energy is transmitted. Then we can say that in that case, when all amount of energy is absorbed, then coefficient of absorption is 1. That body is to be called as your perfectly black body. Now, what are the example of this perfectly black body? Which material will act as a perfectly black body? So, lamp black or platinum black. These two materials will be act as a perfectly black body, in which whenever energy is incident, all amount of heat energy will be absorbed, and then it is to be said as a perfectly black body. Clear? Now, this perfectly black body will absorb all energy. So, it is a good absorber. It is a good absorber. When it will absorb the energy, at the same time, such perfectly black body, when it is kept in the surrounding, so whatever amount of heat energy that body has been absorbed, that heat energy it will give to the surrounding. So it will emit the light to the surrounding, means it will act as an emitter. So it should be a good emitter. So your perfectly black body, whenever it is kept in the surrounding, it should act as a good emitter. Means what we can say that good absorber will act as a good emitter. Fine? So that we want to prove. Now for that proof, what we can do? We can consider a body which is well polished. So all surface area is a well polished. On such body, when amount of heat energy is incident, amount of heat energy Q is incident, then as its surface area is a polished surface area, it will reflect all the energy. Means what it will act? It will act as a good reflector. It is a good reflector means what? It is a bad absorber. It will not absorb. So I can say as a good reflector is a bad absorber. Which type of body? Polished surface body. Now, if I take another body whose all surface areas, all four surfaces are coated with black color, or I can say that all the surface areas are blackened. It is coated with, I can consider as a black surface. It is coated with black surface like this. So all surface area is blackened. So in that case, whenever amount of heat energy is incident, at that time all energy is absorbed. So all energy is absorbed means what? It will act as a good absorber. Is it right? And here this good absorber, though it will absorb the heat, its temperature is maintained. Its temperature is maintained means what? There is no rise of temperature, no fall of temperature. Temperature will get maintained, no amount of heat energy is absorbed. Meaning is what? This absorbed energy is definitely emitted. So whatever amount of heat energy it will absorb, all heat energy it will emit. Means it will act as a good emitter. In another language, what I can say that the rate at which it absorbs the heat, in that same rate, it will emit the heat. Means for blackened surface, the rate of emission is exactly equal to that of rate of absorption, and therefore the temperature of that body get maintained. जैसे just consider, मैंने कुछ बॉडी लिया है, उसके ऊपर थर्मोमीटर डाला है, उसको सनलाइट में रखा है. So what happens? Sunlight energy will incident on that body. If that body is a good absorber, so it will absorb the heat, right? अगर heat absorb कर रहे means what is my conclusion? That I should get a rise in temperature. Is it right? But thermometer shows me a constant temperature. तो जितनी absorb की है energy कहाँ गई? So that absorbed energy is given to the surrounding. Means the rate at which heat energy is absorbed by the body, by same rate that body will emit the heat to the surrounding. So दोनों का rate same है. That's why the temperature will remain constant. And therefore we can say as a good absorber is a good emitter. And when good absorber is a good emitter, the temperature of that body will get maintained. Clear? So this is nothing but your basic concept of your perfectly black body. So for perfectly black body, two important things. That is, for perfectly black body, coefficient of absorption is always equal to 1. And the second thing is nothing but the perfectly black body is a good absorber and good emitter. The rate at which it absorbs the energy must be equal to the rate at which it emits the energy. Get it? Now, in the next topic, now we are going to study the construction of perfectly black body. So the scientist Ferri has given his construction for perfectly black body. So that perfectly black body is to be called as a Ferri's black body. Under that Ferri's black body, what is its construction? This Ferri's black body consists of hollow double-walled silver body. It is a hollow spherical double-walled body. So here in between inner surface, this is the inner surface. I can show by blue coating. Inner surface and this black outer surface. In between inner surface and outer surface, here is the vacuum. Right? This part is to be called as an opening of perfectly black body. Exactly opposite to the opening, there is a conical projection. Why there is a conical projection? To avoid the normal incidence of heat radiation. From this opening, your heat energy will get incident. So this amount of heat energy will first fall on conical projection. Now see this angle. This angle is not 90 degrees. That only we want. That we want that heat radiation should not incident on the surface perpendicular. Now why it is so? See here. If I have no conical projection, just I have this double walled body. Your light is directly incident on this inner surface. perpendicularly, so that all amount of heat will get reflected. Why? Because light is incident on the surface normally. So to avoid the normal incidence of heat radiation, there is a conical projection. Clear? So this part I am going to label as a conical projection. Right? It is coated with, the inner surface is coated with special material, and that material is to be called as a lamp black material, which acts as a perfect black body. Right? So this is nothing but the Ferri's black body construction. Fine. Now how it works? Working. Through the opening of Ferri's black body, this heat energy is incident. When this heat energy will get incident on this conical projection, not normally, so that in one incidence it will absorb 97% of energy. So 97% of energy will be absorbed at this tip of conical projection, and the remaining 3% energy will get reflected. This remaining 3% energy reflected is again absorbed at this point of incidence. उस 3% में से वापस 97% एनर्जी एब्सॉर्ब होगा and remaining amount of energy reflect होगा like this manner. Right? So now this inside this hollow cavity, your heat energy undergoes multiple reflection, and due to that multiple reflection, it will absorb 100% of energy, and then it will be acting as a perfectly black body. Clear? Why it is called perfectly black body? Because inside the cavity, your heat radiation undergoes multiple reflection, and in every reflection, lamp black will absorb 97% of energy. And therefore, when it undergoes multiple reflection, all energy will get absorbed, and then it will act as a perfectly black body. And this construction is given by the scientist Ferri. So that's why it is called as a Ferri's black body. So this Ferri's black body is one of the type of black body. There is one more scientist who is called Wien. This Wien has also given Wien's perfect black body. But only the difference is, in this Wien perfect black body, your perfect black body is in the form of double-walled hollow cylinder. And here, your opening of this perfectly black body is in the form of slit. So your heat radiation will be incident here on this surface जहाँ पे आपका conical projection होगा, and then your heat radiation undergoes multiple reflection, and through that multiple reflection it will absorb the heat. So that is to be called as a Wien's perfectly black body. Now, there is one more device which is to be called as a cavity radiator. This cavity radiator is also working on the same principle, that is perfectly black body principle. What is the principle of perfectly black body? That is when heat energy is incident on a surface, not normally, then at that incidence it will absorb 98% of energy. Inside the cavity it undergoes multiple reflection, and through multiple reflection it will absorb 100% of energy. Same principle is used in the cavity radiator. Now what is this cavity radiator? This cavity radiator, in that inner wall and this outer wall, of a cavity will be formed with the help of this hole, and your heat energy will get incident through this hole. Again, when it will get incident through the hole, it undergoes multiple reflection, and cavity radiator will absorb 100% of energy. Right? So, principle of Farade's black body, Wien's perfectly black body, and cavity radiator. The principle will remain same. Clear? What 2 points you have to consider in the principle? In perfectly black body, when heat radiation will incident, it should not incident normally. Then it will undergo multiple reflection, and in every reflection it will absorb 97% of energy. Clear? So this is nothing but your perfectly black body. Now on this topic, what type of questions will be there? The first question is, what is the